Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. My name is Angela, and I'd like to welcome you to today's session, Supercharging Insight Management at Mars, with Brandon Emerson, Consumer Technical Insights Scientist at Mars, Blair Stevenson, Insights Transformation Lead at Mars Wrigley, and Jennifer Green, Account Director, Global Customer Success at MarketLogic Software. A couple of points before we begin. The webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be made available to you after the webinar. You can ask questions during and also at the end of the session by sending them through the questions widget. Our webinar platform has a few functions which I'm just quickly going to walk you through. This slide shows you where you can send your questions, as well as where you can see the slides and a group of widgets. Now, these widgets offer you the chance to interact with fellow webinar attendees through the group chat, or to interact with the platform and the console. The console can be adjusted with the windows made bigger or smaller, so just click on the icon and see what happens. The platform is designed for you to get everything you can out of our time together. So without further ado, let me introduce you to our speakers. Brendan joined Mars Global Pet Nutrition in August 2020 in the Consumer Technical Insights role, where he works on consumer research, methodology development, and knowledge management. Based in the UK, Brendan holds a PhD in sensory marketing from Leeds Beckett University, where he specialized in congruity between the sensory attributes in products and their respective marketing. For the last 9 years, Blair has been a part of the Mars Wrigley organization as an integral part of their consumer and shopper insights team. Blair's current role has been newly developed to accelerate the rate of change within the Mars Insights team and throughout the larger organization. In this position, Blair is responsible for leading knowledge management strategy, capability building, and communication strategy. Jennifer has more than 14 years of experience in customer success and brand development. Her current role as at MarketLogic has her specializing in strategic partnership building and fostering platform adoption within MarketLogic partner organizations to build a strong and innovative insights management culture. So we're in good hands. Over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Angela. Hi, everybody. Happy to be here. Thanks for tuning in. We are very much looking forward to today's discussion on Supercharging Insights Management. So today, what we're going to be covering is a little bit of the background in case for change. So why did we seek out to supercharge Insights Management? And then we're going to walk you through the zero waste journey. So covering everything from what we needed to do from a platform standpoint, as well as beyond the platform, including culture and process, what needed to be done to be successful. And then we're going to walk you through the outcome to date and what we have planned for to ensure future success of the platform. And then we're going to wrap up with Q&A. Okay, so taking a little bit of a step back, how many of you have been asked this question? We'll take a virtual show of hands. Hey, what do you know about Gen Z? Or, hey, what do you know about sustainability? Or any questions similar to this? I know I have heard many of these. So where do you begin? You might do any number of things or a combination of things, right? You might search your computer, you might reach out to your peers or the person you think that may have run that research last time, hoping that they're still in the organization and they didn't leave and take it with them on their computer. You might reach out to vendors or even do a Google search. I've definitely been known to do that as well. And if you come up dry, you might even conduct research, spending time, money, resources, potentially duplicating research that's already been done by your own team, or maybe by a counterpart in another market across the sea that you didn't even know had anything to do with that project. So, you know, I don't think any organization has it totally figured out, but what happens is insights professionals play the role as data gatekeepers. Hopefully we are moving away from this, but I'm not sure why we do this. Maybe we don't, trust the team members that they're going to do the right thing with the data or that they're going to interpret it correctly. Or maybe we just don't take the time to break down those data silos But what we end up doing is we hoard the data, and then we take on the role of hunter-gatherer, which we all know is just incredibly time-intensive. And then, God forbid, somebody leaves the company, they take all of that awesome institutional knowledge with them, resulting in duplicative research, money, resources, etc. And it ends up being this vicious cycle. So I have definitely been guilty of all of these things. But what if it was this easy? What if you could just type in your search in your own words, like you do into Google, and all of the information that has been run in your organization across markets, across regions, etc., populates below? And what if anybody in your organization could do it, including marketing, R&D, entry-level associates, senior-level executives, etc., and they didn't have to go through you to answer these questions? What could you do with all of that extra time, and what kind of impact could you make on your organization? So why is insights management so important? So James Cummings, who's the head of human intelligence at Mars Wrigley, said it best. So he said, he essentially highlights the differences between the most effective and the least effective insights organizations, and that essentially comes down to strong knowledge management. So overcoming all of the challenges that we just discussed definitely isn't easy, which is where technology comes into play and why a knowledge management system is absolutely critical. So insights management essentially can drive data and insights democratization so that everybody has insights at their fingertips anytime and anywhere. It creates this single source of truth or one-stop shop, and consolidates siloed information across business lines, across regions, et cetera. And it enables speed to insights. So you can drive to quicker, hopefully more consumer-centric and data-driven decisions. And, it's not just about like this vast data repository or big data dump. That's not the case. It's really, with market logic specifically, there are storytelling features that can actually create what they call knowledge zones that are essentially microsites, like little mini websites that really help you collate all of the awesome information. It helps your work stand out. It helps you storytell and frame the knowledge and business story in a really creative and visual way. So now I'm going to pass it over to Brendan, and he is going to take you through the steps that we took along our Mars Zero Waste journey. Hand it over.
Great, thank you for that, Blair. So knowledge management has been a key priority for Mars, and we've been working with Market Logic since 2015 with our platform, which we call Synapse. But in 2020, we started to rethink knowledge management and its role in Mars for two reasons. First, we entered a global pandemic, which meant we had to lean on digital much more than we had to do in the past. And also Mars as an organization was going through change, where we needed to do more with less people, who were utilizing DIY platforms a lot more, and looking at incorporating more agile research methods as well. So we wanted to make insights and research open access and democratized across our organization instead of limiting it to insights associates. So with that, our Zero Waste initiative officially kicked off in Q3 of 2020. So Market Logic was our supplier at the time, but we needed to challenge our current process and ask ourselves, is there a way to do this better? So we brought in over 100 experts, including 5 competitors in the knowledge management space, and asked them to challenge the status quo. We took design thinking really seriously and did some research on ourselves as an organization and our processes qualitatively and quantitatively. We conducted stakeholder and end user interviews, experimenting live with new tools and trialing new software in the first phase. And from all of that research, we learned what our most critical KPIs were. So we learned that we needed to have a great user experience so that associates would come into the knowledge management platform just to find insight because they wanted to, and they had a joy in doing so. It needed to be future-proof and ability to innovate. So we needed to be able to integrate future agile tools into our system. We needed to be able to find relevant research when we needed it. And it needed to be really easy and intuitive to search. So that anyone across the organization could come into the platform and use it just like they would use Google at home. And finally, it needs to be really easy to share insights. So that included the uploading process to really remove those barriers to getting information all in one place. We did this through an iterative experimentation process, and we conducted a lot of robust analyses as well. So one of the things that we did was a listening tour. So we got our peers and key stakeholders and interviewed them. And that was just a really good way to get deep opinions, to truly understand the pain points and barriers to entry. We conducted a design thinking workshop where each partner participated in a Mars-led design thinking workshop to fine-tune the user interface and user experience of the future platform. From an agile testing perspective, after the first phase of testing, MarketLogic reviewed the results of the Mars analysis that we conducted and put together a second prototype of that future platform, and they really incorporated the feedback that we'd given them. They then released this new platform back to the Mars testers, and another round of analysis begun. And in the end, we tallied up all the scores and made our final decision on what the best platform would be. And in the end, we're proud to say that we were successfully maintaining our relationship with MarketLogic. So the new signups was a significant improvement over the previous version, and it led across all our KPIs that we'd pulled together. A really important thing to mention is that not only was the new MarketLogic platform the leader, but you can really see how much of a step change it was versus our legacy platform, which scored the lowest across all KPIs. However, we weren't done just yet. There were a few more co-creation sessions to go. So to finish up this initiative, we had a few more workshops to make sure that the new platform was operating in a way that made it a joy to use for both insights curators and insight seekers. The workshops really help us come up with the fresh new user experience, which included personalized content and feeds for all the different segments of functions across our organization. We also decided to move to horizontal navigation, which mirrors how our brain is used to navigate other websites and tools. From a search and AI perspective, we were able to actually train the AI to help improve the search experience for our associates. And throughout the process, a few key things happened that really supercharged our partnership with MarketLogic. Both of our teams really pushed each other to excel, and the MarketLogic developers created something new, which they now proudly offer to their other clients as a result. The next is listening. We got into a really nice groove where constructive criticism was welcomed on both sides. This was a series of push and pull, and it really tested how well we could work together. And this exercise confirmed to both sides that we were still a great fit as partners. And with that, I'll pass it over to Jennifer, who will highlight a few of the big key changes to the platform.
Thanks so much, Brandon. So after the team aligned on the final details of the new platform, we were super excited to launch Synapse 3.0 this past October. So releasing the final product felt great, not only because it was more innovative, but also because we truly did it together, and the outcome was something as partners we're both proud of. So the old platform worked well for a few years, but the system needed to evolve. So the first major change we made was around search. So the previous platform worked best with Boolean queries using and or to help deliver relevant results. Now the system uses natural language processing, or NLP, which allows users to type in their search query as they would naturally speak it. We also developed a feature called Top 10 Answers, which showcases the page within a document or project that contains the best and most relevant answers to your search query. We also have a fresh new UX with simpler navigation and a more personalized homepage, as Brandon mentioned. This is really important for Mars because all their divisions operate in some cases as separate businesses. So it makes sense for the different teams to only see content that is meaningful for them. In the new platform, we have made getting content into the system easier than ever by launching a quick upload feature. Insights users can simply drag and drop all their project materials into the upload area And the system will auto-tag their project with important metadata and publish it to all of Mars with under a few minutes. Finally, we move from one partner integration to many more, which I'll talk about in more detail here in a minute. But in a perfect world, Synapse 3.0 would be the one-stop shop for all knowledge and insights. But we know there will never only be really one place that you'll need to go. However, we do strive to make the system as comprehensive as possible by also linking to other important tools and platforms that Mars uses. Being a collaborative partner means that MarketLogic needs to continue to adjust as ways of working at Mars change over time. One way we do this is by integrating and connecting to their third-party vendors and tools. Euromonitor has been a legacy partner and their content is used quite a bit, so we will continue to automatically pull in these great assets from them. We're excited to integrate with Knowledge Hound this past October as well. Mars users can now search and find their valuable survey data in just a few clicks. Vox PopMe is also a new partner in October, and they have begun to push a ton of wonderful consumer content to our platform. Their videos have searchable transcriptions as well as additional themes that are captured, analyzed, and shared with us by Vox PopMe. Also, in a few weeks, we will complete our integration with Zappy. So when insights experts work on a project with Zappy, they will no longer have to upload any of their work into the system themselves. It will automatically pull in via our API, which is great. Last but not least is our upcoming Microsoft Teams integration. Mars uses Teams quite a bit, and it's pretty much ingrained in their daily ways of working, like it is for most of us. So in Q2, Mars will be able to search for, share, and upload our platform's content directly with the Teams app to an individual or to a group chat. So the ultimate goal of all of our integrations is to really increase efficiency. We want to seamlessly connect with the partners and tools that Mars deems valuable in order to save time and increase speed to insight. Not to mention, our platform now has a lot more quality, digestible, and approved insights for Mars to use in decision making. So now I'll pass over to Brandon, who will talk about what's important for system adoption.
Yeah, thanks, Jennifer. So having a technology that helps support our insights management needs is super important, but for that to really work, it has to be ingrained in the culture and processes of the entire organization. It needs to be naturally part of our ways of working, from democratizing our work to directing stakeholders to the system to find answers. We really needed a culture that proactively supported knowledge curators and seekers and continuously optimized the use of insights across the organization, coming all the way from leadership support. So to proactively drive a positive change, we involved all key stakeholders. So we involved leadership, the sign-ups champion team, knowledge curators, and knowledge seekers from all of our different segments and functions. We learned that a one-size-fits-all approach just wouldn't work, but we needed to look at it from all angles. So one of our asks to our leaders in the organization was to provide support and a voice for knowledge management, to push associates to use our systems and encourage knowledge management in our individual business objectives as well. For our insight curators, we ask them to, whenever they need to perform a knowledge harvest, to go to signups first, for them to democratize the insights that they generate, and direct other stakeholders within the organization to signups to find their research. We did things like putting signups in our email signatures, so whenever we were talking to someone, the signups was just one click away. And rather than using traditional PowerPoint, we can also use knowledge zones to present and tell our business stories. Essentially, insights curators needed to lead by example. You tell stories through the tool and share findings through the tool as well. And our ask of knowledge seekers as well was to make science the first place that they would look for insight. So instead of going to one person for one specific document, we really wanted people to go into science and use a search there because they might not only just find that one document they're looking for, they might also find entirely new perspectives from all the other research that's been done across the organisation, which they might not have already been aware of. We also asked them to give us direct feedback and make use of the "did you find what you were looking for" function. That helps us determine if there's a knowledge gap in the organisation, or is it just a case that there's some insight that hasn't been uploaded yet. And with that, I'll just pass back on to Blair, who will talk about our communication plan and why the zero waste journey was successful.
All right, thanks, Brendan. So next up was pulling together a communications plan. So what we did is we really leveraged all of that great research that Brendan had walked you through regarding, jobs to be done by group, barriers, et cetera, by all of these various subgroups. And we ended up basing our communications plan on the ADKAR framework. And for those of you that aren't aware, ADKAR is a commonly used framework within change management. So it's around driving awareness for the need for change, desire to change, knowledge of how to do so, ability, and finally reinforcement. So Mars actually has 8 different segment and functional teams that were relevant for this platform launch. So we really needed to customize all communications across these ADKAR stages by all of these 8 groups. So we spent a lot of time workshopping this, and we were able to customize and tailor announcements, trainings, how-to guides, et cetera, for each of these stages by group. So we developed consistent but customized messaging across all of the vehicles and channels, including things like, in-platform announcements or information, slides that we shared in team meetings, newsletters. We had our senior leaders actually develop an awesome video that got a lot of views, town halls, et cetera. So all together, everybody saw things a couple different times, a couple different ways throughout the launch process. Okay, so pulling this all together, why did this work? Number one, it was around agility. So you heard a key theme, throughout this presentation today. We did rapid prototyping. We were making really quick changes, throughout the process based on this continuous test user feedback loop. But like no other project before that I've personally been on, we really did research not only on the platform, but on ourselves. So typically, sometimes with projects like this, you may or may not conduct stakeholder interviews at the onset, and then maybe you do like a post-launch survey or chat with some people later on. But with this project, we really turned the microscope on ourselves, and we treated it almost as if it was a big consumer-facing project or even like a product launch. We solidified KPIs and measured ourselves against those. We evaluated drivers, barriers, we segmented groups, we micro-targeted those groups, and we had a post-launch program. So all of that together made it so successful. Number two was around listening, which Brendan had mentioned earlier, but we just had this really great positive environment where we embraced constructive criticism, and it just enabled us to really step change where we could have been if we held back. Experimentation. So we really embraced progress over perfection with this. And over the course of, we had 2 experiments, super iterative. And then in doing so, we were able to really co-design and co-create our ideal tool. Speed. So the entire project took, it certainly spanned many months, but at certain times it was crunch time. So it required really fast, agile decision-making where we were required to flip around feedback incredibly quickly on really key major decisions, which felt a little uncomfortable at times, but we all, we were able to do it, align on our decisions, and kind of hold hands and push forward. And then finally, transformation. So we have really seen this platform transform into something that's compatible with the new environment, our new ways of working, with the reinvention that Mars has gone through. But beyond that, Mars has really transformed as an organization that cares more than ever about insights management. So, we have a lot of leadership support, which I think is absolutely vital for the success of this type of initiative. And we just feel the momentum behind it, which is really exciting. Like Brendan mentioned, every single person, at least on the human intelligence side, and we're trying to roll this out more broader, has insights management on their business objectives for the year. So it is a major, major area of focus for us. So Jennifer is going to talk to you about the post-launch success, as well as what else we're going to do to ensure future success. And then we'll be wrapping up shortly.
All right, thanks, Blair. Our launch in October proved to be a huge success, and we saw some nice upticks across most of our key metrics. So compared to the prior month, there was a large increase in the number of unique users that entered the platform. We saw more searches being conducted and more visits to our knowledge zones, or those storytelling microsites Blair mentioned earlier. We were also very happy to see the number of uploads via our new simplified upload process double, resulting in a lot more content entering the platform. So beyond the launch, a common theme throughout this initiative, as you may have heard, is continuous feedback and improvement. We take all user feedback very seriously, and we've begun to collect it in a number of ways. Last year, we implemented an in-platform NPS pop-up that randomly triggers to about 5% of our user base at any given time. And we share the scores with Mars on a monthly basis, comparing it to industry and other client benchmarks to make sure our performance levels are at or above where they should be. We also promote an in-platform always-on survey asking for users to rate various system modules and their ability to help them do their jobs. Our champion team at Mars also pushes this survey out via email, not only to their insights teams, but also to their segment's larger marketing and demand groups. It's really important to get feedback from all different angles, not just from our expert users, in order for the platform to be helpful for all use cases. Finally, we have a real-time feedback mechanism around search. So every time a user submits a search query, we ask them if they found what they're looking for at the bottom of the screen. This information is analyzed every quarter and used to improve and tweak our search algorithm. So MarketLogic and Mars participate in a few other key activities together that help us stay focused on the right priorities for each quarter and each year. The first is our annual conference. Our champion teams get together for a few days, discuss key accomplishments and areas for improvement from the prior year. We then agree upon things that we want to start, stop, and continue, and this can include anything that Brandon mentioned from a culture, process, technology, or data and tools perspective. On a quarterly basis, we highlight what's new, tips and tricks for important features, and training information via a newsletter to help spread awareness. Reporting on our KPIs and our progress to our goals and other key trends is a very important exercise that helps the group understand if the actions that we're taking are paying off or if we need to revisit our plan. Finally, something new this year that Mars will be a part of is our co-creation community, which will comprise of expert users drawn from all of our clients. So as co-creators, Mars will help MarketLogic understand the jobs to be done and will be involved in some additional rapid prototyping alongside our engineers and designers. So this community is also a great way for our clients to meet and share their experiences and best practices with peers in similar and other industries. So now I'll pass back over to Blair, who will sum up the challenges solved with insights management.
All right, thanks. Okay, so having a strong insights management platform and process, truly can help supercharge insights and help us overcome some of these challenges that so many of us face that we talked about earlier. So it can allow us to no longer hoard the data, but actually democratize all of the great insights that we work so hard on to create. It enables us to break down those data silos, create a single source of truth and a one-stop shop. It enables us to find and deliver relevant information without going through that arduous process of hunting and gathering that can eat up a good part of your day. And I'll admit it's a pretty darn great feeling when somebody asks you a "what do you know about Gen Z" type question, and you can send one link. It really helps drive, obviously, that speed to insights. Quick searches, knowledge zones really helps us do that in an incredibly timely manner. We're able to retain all of that awesome institutional knowledge in one place so we don't lose it when someone leaves. And finally, we don't end up duplicating research and spending unneeded time, resources, dollars, et cetera, duplicating research. And even beyond duplicating research, ideally, all of the information stored here should actually help improve the quality of future research, right? So we're using that past data to help inform, refine, build upon what we already know so that we continue to evolve and get smarter, which is the goal. So this is very much a continuous journey. We're not stopping here. We have a lot more work to do, certainly. We're continuing to collaborate. We're going to continue to innovate, add more integrations, continue to evolve. But I think, it's super exciting that we as a company are continuing to prioritize insights management. And we're really excited to help shape what's next. So with that, we hope you enjoyed hearing about the zero waste journey. And then I think we are opening it up to Q&A.
Yes, we certainly are. Thank you very much to Blair and Brandon and Jennifer. We really do appreciate your sharing your time with us and giving us this really interesting view. I must apologize because the light has gone out in the room in which I'm sitting. So I think I'm a shadow of of my former self at the moment. So my apologies. Let me start with some questions that have come in. The first one, what would be one piece of feedback you would give to another team embarking on this type of insights management transformation? I imagine this would be relevant to all three of you, but Brendan, perhaps you'd like to start us off.
So it really started from the top with leadership. So we actually had a dedicated associate leading the initiative and had a lot of dedicated time from all the system champions as well. Plus, we had a budget to accomplish this as well, so we had a set pot to make this a reality. So yeah, I would just say that to kind of have the plan scoped out ahead of time, have it resourced appropriately. You really need that for it to work.
Interesting. And Jennifer, perhaps you want to add on to that?
Yeah, sure. So from the technology side of things, I think it's also very similar to make sure that we have the correct resources. Not only that, but to be able to have the ability to innovate and iterate on the fly based on feedback, knowing what was expected of us with the great scoping exercise. Mars was very detail-oriented and put together about what our KPIs were, what they expected of us, and when. So it's pretty crucial to get the right people involved from the start, especially the engineers and developers that do the rapid prototyping. Very important to make sure you have those resources from a technology perspective. And Blair, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I would say, I think it's really important to evaluate feedback from a lot of different angles. As myself as an insights person, I had my own point of view of what I, liked and didn't like and what worked and didn't work. But that I'm just one person. So I think it's really important to understand the point of view from not just other insights professionals, but the end users as well. So across all functions and teams, what are their pain points? What can we help solve? What are their needs and how can we help solve them? So it's almost like building empathy, right? Like we talk about building consumer empathy, but it's really about empathy for the people that, are within Mars as well. So understanding their point of view to help solve their issues and help them be more effective.
Okay, our next question. This one is really for Blair, Brendan, from Mars. What are some of the most common misconceptions about insights management that you have come across? Brendan, I don't know if you want to kick us off on that one again.
Yes, I think one thing insights associates tend to worry about is like research being taken the wrong way, or it might be misinterpreted. So you feel that sometimes there's a concern in the organisation about sharing documents in a really open way and democratizing that. And all I'd say to that is make use of like the tools that are available to you. So in Synapse, when we upload a project, we can add like key findings and consumer verbatims, so we can kind of tailor what the key takeaways are going to be from that research and make it really easy to understand. And also from like a knowledge zone or these microsites we were talking about, they are literally like mini websites, so you can use a lot of these storytelling features to kind of tell your story in a way that is unlikely to be misinterpreted. And MarketLogic are really good at training us on how to do storytelling well as well. And I think for those documents where there is like a genuine concern around confidentiality as such, then that's probably the kind of document which you wouldn't store in this kind of platform. But there's other kind of like access rights validated areas, so it's definitely not a one platform do it's everything approach.
Yeah.
And Blair, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I would say, some people, or I think some organizations might think that SharePoint or Teams folder systems are kind of good enough for knowledge management. And what I would say is there's a time and a place for both, right? So SharePoint is great when you have work in progress documents and you're collaborating with your teammates and you're adding real-time feedback and things like that, or for certain things, for certain use cases. But the benefit of a knowledge management system like this, it's really intended to be for final documents. It's this repository of final information where I think the key differentiator is it's searchable. So you can't you can't really, in like a Teams or SharePoint, really find what you're looking for as easily as you can in like a MarketLogic type system, where you don't have to know where to look. You don't have to know what folder to go in. You can just type in your question and uncover it. So there's a time and a place for both. We absolutely use both. But I would say that you can't really get to a solid knowledge management system without a dedicated platform. That's my personal point of view.
Yeah, understandable. Our next question is for Jennifer. How has the usage of the platform changed since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah, I think across all of our clients, we saw usage, incredible usage growth starting in 2019, which makes total sense. We were all remote working, or most of us were remote working or hybrid working for quite a bit of time since then. And what makes this, always on website-based platform is that, you can go in and type in a business question and find your answers right away, regardless of when you're working, where you're working. Mars and MarketLogic are both global organizations that we work at all different times. And it's not easy to, you can't go up to someone's desk and say, hey, I know you worked on this 5 years ago or 2 years ago or yesterday. Please tell me more about it. So it gives that real-time access to the data and information from your colleagues. So we've seen a lot of upticks in usage since COVID, because the platform is really designed for people who are in a bubble to find what they're looking for. So.
Fabulous. Okay, question for Blair and Brendan. Outside of this big launch, how much of your time do you typically dedicate to championing your insight management platform? Blair, maybe you can kick us off?
Sure. It really ebbs and flows. It just depends. And it also depends on how each team is structured. So this absolutely could be a full-time position. And it is somebody's full-time position in certain segments. And I know at other companies. For me personally, some weeks are on the low end. It's 5 or 10% of the time. Other weeks, it's much, much higher. It could be 50 to 75% of the time. It just sort of depends. We are going to be, I kind of alluded to this earlier, but this is a really key priority for the human intelligence team this year. Always, but especially this year, it's earmarked in everybody's objectives. So we're going to be doubling down. We're fleshing out the scope of what that's going to look like. And so I think it could be a really significant part of my personal role this upcoming year. And that includes, I think, Synapse and Market Logic, but also other systems, what other templates need to be created, ways of working, how else can we capture knowledge, and then, also integrate it into Synapse. So it really kind of depends, and depends on how your company wants to, to structure your time, but it definitely ebbs and flows.
And Brendan, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I completely agree with Blair. So for me, some weeks it's quite a small amount of time, but in others it is actually quite a significant amount of time as well. So I guess it depends on what kind of projects you're working on in this kind of insights management space. So if you're working on a strategic project, so I've just started to implement the knowledge and strategy, for example, that took quite a lot of time to get alignment from different teams and such. But generally, I think as we continue our journey of embedding knowledge management into our ways of working, it's on everyone's mind, just as they're doing their normal work, then I think the burden would probably be reduced on one person. There'll be less need for trainings and such as well. So I think we're at the start of a longer journey, really.
Well, fabulous. We'd really like to thank Brendan, Blair, and Jennifer for joining us today. And of course, all of you for participating in this webinar. We really hope you enjoyed your time with us. I did just want to mention that 2022 is a very special year for ESOMAR, as it's our 75th birthday. So please take a look in the resources widget to see how you can get involved and help celebrate this momentous occasion. We hope our birthday will allow us to be even more inclusive and diverse than ever before, and we've adjusted our pricing model to reflect this, so please visit our website to find out more. Thank you again to everybody. We look forward to seeing you in a future webinar. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.